Well, hey, good evening, everybody. Welcome to this week's episode of the Go the Distance podcast, where we go the distance in whatever race God has called us to run, and we have real, raw conversation about real, raw life issues. We are filming this. My man is back in the studio, Deke Alexander, back from the Dominican. Great to see you.
It's good to be back.
He just showed up back in the States.
Surprise.
And
yeah.
So it's good to have him back in the studio tonight. And listen, we're shooting this on Monday, April the 5th. At approximately 2:37 p.m. Central Standard Time. Now, you have to understand, this is the day after.
Yeah.
This is the Monday after.
This is the Monday after
Easter weekend. And so I might be telling you the truth if I told you I just got up about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
And so after 5 services this weekend, as an old friend of mine in Missouri used to say, I was more slick. And so I got up like I always do. I woke up this morning at 6:30, whether I want to or not. Eyes opened up, and I'm like, no, we're not doing that. Dear Lord, put me back to sleep. He did. And then I got up about 1. So here we are. But it's good to have you and your family back. And I'd like to think you just came back because of Easter.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's why.
I just wanted to see you preach live.
Yeah, I figured that was the case.
And the worship.
Yeah. Well, like, there's other things. Yeah. Well, it was good to see you guys, and you kept your secret as long as you could till you got to the airport and posted it on social media.
Yeah,
and
you know me. I can't keep a secret.
Then I saw it. I'm like, oh, they're all coming home. That's awesome. Wow.
Yeah.
And so it was good to see you guys on April 4th, but actually March 28th. You were in our services March 28th, and saw you guys there in the back where Sam's dad, Bill, sits every Sunday. And so it's good to have you here.
Thank you. Thank you for having us back.
Yeah. So what'd you think?
The show.
Well, what'd you think about Easter at Rock Creek?
Oh man, what a journey to get there. You know,
Oh, wow.
What an amazing journey from. We were talking about this yesterday. Is as we left, we tried to not stay around for all of them because we wanted to experience all of them, but we wanted to come and obviously open up room for other people.
So you went to 9?
We actually went to 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
And we came back. We went and had dinner with her dad, and kind of like we did every Easter when we were here. And so we came back, and Samantha and I said, let's go just check out the parking lot of third service and just see what it looks like. And, I remember it's hard not to get emotional about it, but I remember back in the day when we were sitting in your office and you were actually doing our marriage counseling. We've talked about it on the show before.
Oh, gosh, that's a long time ago.
And you were, casting vision in that big, grand vision of, just come and see what God's going to do.
Right.
And, stay faithful every day and show up. And just to see the journey that the church has been on, its leadership, the team, the volunteer growth, and to see, all parking lots, not just a main parking lot, but all parking lots packed out multiple times. And from what I heard, Saturday was the same thing. And so that's just the grace of God and really just the spirit of multiplication that's in the church. Yeah. And it was amazing for us to see and experience. Yeah,
well, I'm glad you guys got to come back and experience our first Easter in the building after we had hoped it would have been last Easter. Actually, we hoped it would have been Easter of 19, and it didn't happen. And so then we were anticipating Easter of 20, and then COVID happened. And so I preached Easter of 20 in a cemetery.
Yeah.
Filmed that in a cemetery, and it was like 95 degrees that day. I filmed it. I was dripping wet when I was done, but I wasn't dead. I was still alive in the middle of a cemetery.
Absolutely.
And then, so this weekend was 3 years coming. And in particular, it's been 2 years since we've had Easter in person. And so that made it even more special just to be able to be with the people on Easter Sunday.
Right.
I mean, we need community. We need each other. We need to be face to face in person. The in-person experience, you can't get that on an online experience.
You cannot get that online.
Get it. You just can't. You can get something on your couch, but you can't get what you get in the room. And so having so many people that I haven't seen in a while that came back over the weekend, I may not have gotten to talk to them, but just visibly seeing them, that meant a lot that they ventured back. And I'm hoping that others will continue to come back as the vaccine continues to move forward with those who are choosing to take that, and then just seeing the cases go down and some sense of normalcy come back. Rock Creek has been on the front line of reopening and saying, you know what, we're gonna be firm in our stance that we're going to open our building, that people need to come in person. And if you choose to come, great. And if you choose not to, that's fine. We respect that. And we've done everything we can do to keep the place clean. We've been blessed by God not to have a major outbreak in our church congregation. We've had people that have gotten it. We've had people that have tested positive. Our family got it over the Christmas holidays. But as a whole, we've been protected because we handled that right. When someone got it, we went and hung out by ourselves and got through the process. And so we've been blessed. And so yesterday was, as I said, one service, I said, it was almost bittersweet because there was a lot of, I used it in a different way. It was bitter grind of those years to get to the sweet years. And so it was bittersweet too yesterday afternoon when I left because it was like Christmas Day. It came and went way too fast. It's like, wow, it's over. Now we got to get back into the grind of just every Sunday. But being on the front lines of saying we're going to open, what ended up happening, and you guys moved December 10th, so you even probably just being gone 90 days probably saw a lot of what we've been experiencing since you've been gone. Is you probably saw a lot of faces. You're like, who are these people?
Absolutely.
And one time it was really revealed to me that God was doing something really new and fresh, and God was bringing a lot of people to our church because, number one, we were open. Number two, we let people choose if they wanted to wear a mask or not. We did not dictate, you have to do this, you have to do that. You choose. Number three, we're a church that uses every technological tool available to us to present Jesus in a modern way, in a fresh way. I think there's nothing wrong with that. But when we get to the actual message time, we literally open up God's word and we preach out of God's word. And so what we've seen is that little cultural statement that we have, we'll be culturally relevant while remaining biblically pure. That has really been the catalyst to it. And so as we began to grow, actually it started happening when school started and people went back to going to school, kids went back, parents began to venture back into church. But then beyond that, even after the first of the year, after the holidays, when Sarah, my wife, she's been doing a Tuesday morning Bible study for ladies and a Tuesday night Bible study for ladies. It's the same Bible study, just two different groups. So some of the women can come in the morning, some come in the evening. And she's got 40 women on the roster for the Tuesday morning Bible study. And when she showed me the roster, I looked at the names and I only knew 7 of the 40 names. And that was when it was like, okay, God is really doing something here, and people are coming here because they're getting something here, and God is moving here. And so I just looked at Sarah. I said, we just got to keep from screwing it up,
Right.
If we can just keep from messing it up and just keep doing what we're doing. But Jesus said that if he be lifted up, he would draw all men unto him. And that includes women, boys, and girls. And so that's all we're doing. It was plastered on the back wall yesterday, Jesus.
Absolutely.
And that's who it's about. It's not built on me. It's not built on any of our staff pastors. It's on him. He's the firm foundation. So we're just seeing some really cool things happen. And to see 20, I'm pastoral, so I'm going to round up, but we were just under 2,400 this weekend in total attendance.
Amen.
And we were praying for 3, but that's because I always set goals really high. Because if you don't set a goal high, you won't hit it. If you want to,
I've never experienced that.
Yeah. So let's set something high so we can push. And knowing that if you don't hit 3, it's not failure. Right. It's the fact that you had 2,400. That's amazing that you got to present Jesus to 2,400 people, whether it was in children's ministry or was it in the auditorium. And Sarah told me this morning that just on the online check-in through Planning Center with Children's Ministry and people who did the online Connect card, there were like 40 first-time guests already just there, and she doesn't even have the paper cards yet, the actual cards from the
That is
services.
amazing.
So, it's just we just got to keep doing what we're doing. We just got to keep staying out of the way and keep putting Jesus first and foremost. And so I know probably Easter was special for you guys being back, but I think Easter probably for all of our Rock Creekers, especially those who've been with us when we were in the school, just was really surreal.
Absolutely. That's a great word. Surreal.
It was surreal. And it was and of course the things we did creatively the team, it's kind of like I told everybody, we just need to get to the painting. Just get to the painting. And if we can get to the painting, then I can draw the net after the painting. We just got to get to that point. And so, I mean, what else is there to do? So having Alejandro here and having him paint for us, and
he did a great job, by the way.
Yeah, and the painting auction, stupid,
Crazy.
So we auctioned off 4 of the paintings. We're keeping 1 painting for the church. We're still contemplating where we're going to put that painting. It may be in the lobby, but the lobby's pretty tight right now on wall space. Someone mentioned that we ought to put it on the back wall, on the backstage wall, as you get ready to walk out on the stage, so that we're reminded every time we walk on that stage who this is for and what he did for us. But we auctioned 4 of them off, and last night the auction ended at 6:00, and there was a couple that kept going. There were bidding wars going on, but total was $9,175 that was paid for those 4 paintings.
Amen.
And so we're going to be able to take $4,000, a little over $4,000, and put that in the student camp fund to help with scholarships for camps this summer. So not only did he bless us with the paintings, and not only was it an amazing moment, but now it's gonna reciprocate itself with kids getting to go to camp that might not be able to go without a scholarship. And they may make a decision for Jesus. So a painting on Easter may actually result in a teenager, their destiny for eternity being changed. So it's kind of a neat caveat to it.
Multiplication.
Yeah, it's just neat. So that everything we did, and I have no idea what happened in the children's wing. I did go down.
Well, we went over there.
Yeah.
It was packed, but hey, hats off. The children's wing looks great.
Yeah,
I mean, the expansion, the room.
Yeah.
Just to see people, number one, be able to walk back and forth, but also congregate and talk.
Yeah.
It was great to see community happening over there.
Yeah, of course, that was a big improvement for us, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. We should have built it that way to begin with. That was design problems, and we should have made that hallway the way it was. There's only one thing left to do in that part of the expansion, and that is to replace the metal door at the end with a glass door.
Right.
So that we can come in and out of that. As you see, the portables are being installed as we speak. They're working even as we're shooting this podcast. So hopefully those will be up and running by the end of April. And so we've got to have a glass door down there for people to come in and out of, and to see that people are approaching a door.
Right.
And because you remember one day you hit me with a door that you couldn't see, about broke my hand. So we can't have that. So that's the last thing on that part. And shout out to Randy Holman, man. I'm telling you what, that
huge shout out to Randy Holman.
He's been working like crazy getting that wing completed, and then with the portables, and then he's a retired ex-business director of First Baptist Lubbock, and it's like, well, welcome back to full-time ministry. And he's doing it for free right now. We've given him a couple love offerings and just said thank you, but yeah, he's been vital in that. So
it's a good blessing, and it's a good timing.
Yeah, we needed him, and he made a comment. We both made a comment. Once we get all this done, we want this building to rest for a while. It's not rested since we moved in. We've been working on something since we moved in, whether it's just repainting, whether it's hanging stuff on the walls, whether it's expanding a hallway, whatever it is. It just hasn't rested. And so it needs a rest. We just need to exhale for a bit. And but it's like I told you.
Keep growing though.
Yeah, I mean, it's not going to stop.
It's not going to stop.
I was talking to a church planter last night. He texted me, brand new church in Princeton, and he was telling me that they had 240 on Easter, and they had one give their life to Christ, and we were celebrating that together. And then he just sent a text. Now all I need is more money to do the things I want to do. And I said to him, as a pastor to pastor, I said, you will always need more money.
Always.
It doesn't matter if your budget's $5,000 a month or $35,000 a month or $350,000 a month. You will always need more, because you as a leader, God has called you to do more. And to do more, it takes resources. And God is the source, but the people are the resource that he has to use that. And what we've seen here recently in the first quarter of 2021 is people are getting behind the vision, and they want to be used as that resource. And so what we're seeing on the resource financial side, we're all just, our jaws are on the ground. I mean, we're already over $500,000 received in this calendar year, and so That's amazing. And what that does, it allows us to do more. It allows us to get to the next facility faster. It allows us to pay debt down faster. So I told that pastor, his name's Justin. I said, Justin, that need will never go away.
Right.
And I'm sure you guys are experiencing that in the Dominican. I mean,
Right.
the need for financial resources to press the gospel to the ends of the earth never
stops. Never stops. And when we, just like yesterday, when we were looking, and I told you we pulled up and looked at third service, what we're seeing, we've seen the need because we've been obviously on staff, but now we see it from a different light, and we see the return on ministry, where in business we'd always use that word return on investment, but we're seeing the return on ministry from a different angle, and the people and the opportunity for people to come and for the church, not just the staff, but the people, to help people meet and follow Jesus. And that is the evidence, or the dividend, so to speak, of that return on ministry is very evident here. Just seeing it from a different light and seeing it from a different angle. So,
well, our next thing we need is more parking. So, we're trying to raise money for that. And, it's in that children's ministry wing expansion. But once that portion's done, once these portables are done, then our focus will turn to how can we get 50, possibly 75 more parking spaces on the current property. And then the next phase is how can we raise the money to begin a design with an architect that actually designs churches for the next phase of phase 2, which would be a new auditorium, major huge children's wing. We're always gonna need more children's space.
Right.
We need more adult education space. For Celebrate Recovery groups, for Reengage, for Financial Peace, Grief Share would love to meet in the building. Right now they meet here in the office on Wednesday nights, but there's just so many things we can do. We'll have to retrofit the current building to children or to student ministry, and we'll probably put our offices in that children's wing. And so there's just a lot of things that are going to have to be done. When we were in the throes of summer of 2020, when you guys were still here, we were in dire straits. It was tough. We were
hammer down, hold on.
Yeah, we were trying to figure out how we're going to survive because we had built this building. We had 12 weeks in it. We really didn't have time to stabilize in it with the growth, because when people start coming, they don't give day one. They want to know they can trust the leadership and trust the direction of the church. And so we hadn't reached that, and then COVID hit. And so it just it stunted it, is what it did. It kind of set us back. And so financially we were struggling. And so we knew that, the first step we were going to have to do is figure out how we can move some of our resources in the way of real estate to offset some of our expenses. And one of the results of that too was you decided that you would eject off of our staff, but then God led you guys to the Dominican. So God was doing other things and that I didn't even know that he was doing. But we put about 12 acres up for sale, up to 12 acres in this house that we use as offices. And we listed it, and we had some bites. We had some people interested. Most people wanted more than 12.
Right.
Most people didn't want to buy the floodplain land. And we just never could get peace about it. But then God began to move, and we began to get ahead, and we began to catch up, and we began to have some things work in our favor. Thank you, Lord. And about 3 weeks ago, in our board meeting, we voted to take the land off the market. And so we don't have any land for sale right now. Now, if someone came and said, I want to buy the back 5 acres in the house for $3 million, we will talk.
Yeah, you'll have a conversation.
Yeah, but it's officially off the market. And to God be the glory, because I think we're going to need more than we think we're going to need. I just, I've been told by several 16 acres is all you're going to need. I just think we're going to need more. And so we have 27 out here, and I think we're going to need at least 20. And so,
how many times have I heard it from you over the years? Is we play checkers and God plays chess. And so I think as you play checkers and you steward properly with the desire and dependency upon Him. You used to always say, you do what only you can do and trust God to do what only He can do. And so I think as that planning and preparation went in there of, how are we better, not necessarily how are we bigger. And, we're seeing that obviously in the numbers, but in regards to what's next in vision is, what is God doing and what's He doing even today in the new people that are coming.
Sure.
They're taking steps and growing and volunteering and
Yeah.
It's all about a next step.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, it's such a joy to walk out in the lobby and see faces greeting, people ushering, people serving in children's ministry that you've only seen a short amount of time or you've really never had a chance to meet. And I think that's where, for Sarah and I, that's been a hard transition for us to be able to say, we are not going to know everybody.
right.
We're going to do our best to show appreciation, shake a hand, bump a fist, hug a neck. But the truth is, God is bringing people here so fast right now that it's nearly impossible to know everybody. That's why the dessert with the pastors every quarter is so important, which we have one coming up in April, because that gives us a chance to get around the room.
Right, to connect.
To connect. And so, when you run 150 in a middle school, all 150 because all 150 are setting up and tearing down pretty much. So, Greg and I were talking in the green room Saturday before the first Saturday night service. We were talking about how a lot of church planters, and I'm not talking about anybody in particular, I'm just across the board.
Right.
I'm not talking about Vision Texas guys. I'm not talking about I'm just talking about church
planters. Yeah.
That so many church planters that are just getting started. We talked about if they were to come and see what we're doing on Easter, there's not a one of them that wouldn't say, I want that. I want to do this.
I want to do that.
I want to get to this point. I want our church, the church I lead, to be there someday.
Right.
But what they don't realize, and this is what Greg and I were talking about, so many times when you say that, you don't realize the hell that you're going to go through to get to that. And Greg was like, "Yep, you're going to go. It's a grind. It's the grind. It's the journey that comes with betrayal. It comes with hurt. It comes with pain. It comes with financial struggles. It comes with physical struggles. It comes with all kinds of spiritual attacks on your family." And I said to Greg as he was talking, I said, "Greg, we need to pen a book. We really do. We need to pen a book about church planting, because so many guys don't get to their 5th birthday because that first 5 years as a church is such a grind." And we were just talking about how thankful we were for those that stayed in the trenches, in the grind for 12 years to get to experience this yesterday and Saturday. And so it was just so real to me to think, there was a time where we knew we could get here. We knew that this could be, but we didn't know if we could sustain the season to get there. And in fact, I think it was you I was texting last night. I was texting like 5 people last night. I couldn't go to sleep. But anyway, I was in a text chains with like 5 people. And I think it was you. I said something, to the fact that it's like you have a dream and most people never get to see the dream. I not only got to see it, but I'm in the middle of it. I'm living in the middle of it. So when people say, "Oh, I'm living the dream," it's kind of like cliche, but I really am living the dream. And here's what Greg and I landed on when we left that green room Saturday night to get ready for the service and go out into the auditorium. I said, "Greg, I think the key for whoever leads this church, for me, if it's 10, 15 more years, whoever it is, the key for you, Greg, in your ministry long term, the key for Ryan, Brian, David, all of us, is to never forget that the grind that got us here. Because that's when you get in trouble, is when you begin to think, I did something or I accomplished something that was my doing. It wasn't my doing. God did it through us. And when we forget that, and when we forget the grind, when we forget the people that were in the grind, that's when we begin to get off track. And that's why I thought maybe we ought to hang that picture of Jesus back there right where we walk on the stage from the black curtain, is just to remind us all there's a painful side of it, and there's a glory side of it. And you got to go through the pain to get the glory. But when you're in the glory, don't forget the pain.
Exactly.
And so, I think that's where we are now. We're living a dream. The problem is God keeps giving me new dreams. It's like, okay, God, stop. I don't want another dream. But he keeps giving me another dream. Even since you've only been gone 90 days, but just think about what you've seen within 5 miles of this property in the last 5 years. there is no lack of people.
Well, we were told, remember, when we first bought it in September, y'all are on the west side.
2014.
Y'all are way over here. Whoever is going to live over there?
Yeah, well, this was before Windsong Ranch, Star Trail,
Right.
Parks of Legacy, Creeks of Legacy, any of that existed. Artesia was the only thing out here, and it
Right.
was only half built out. Yeah, and we saw that aerial map that Johnny Warren had. He showed us,
Right.
oh, this is coming, this is coming, this is coming. And I remember seeing Cane's. I'm like, oh, Cane's Chicken's coming, awesome. And it was like, is it true? Do you think it really happened? And here we are. And so,
In the midst of it.
yeah, and there's some massive ministries in Prosper. There's some big
Yes.
churches in Prosper. Prestonwood North is huge. Hope Fellowship has a campus here in Prosper, and I'm friends with all those pastors. Connor Bales is my friend. Mike Martin's my friend. John McKenzie's my friend. I mean, we're all in this kingdom effort together.
Yeah, you're better together.
We're all friends. Here's the thing. There's no lack of people. If you really want to know how great and how white the fields are into harvest, one Sunday morning, just look around you in your neighborhood when you come home for church or when you leave to go to church. Just look around. There's a lot of people. Not going to church.
Yeah.
So the need is
And a lot of people moving in like crazy.
Yeah. From a lot of folks from California. I would say 90% of the people I meet that have moved here are moving from California. So, and we welcome them. We're glad they're here. So
It's his timing.
Well, and I told somebody the other day, Deke, we had our grand opening in January of 2020. We grand opened January 12th, 2020.
Right.
We shut down March 15th, 2020. And then we opened back up May 24th. And really what happened is God, through COVID, God enabled our church to actually benefit from 2 grand openings. Because it's like the first grand opening, no one knew who we were, and we didn't have any time to get the word out before we had to shut down. We were just getting started. But then in that 9-week lockdown, people were so hungry for community, so hungry to hear a real live preacher up there preach,
Absolutely.
not on a TV or on a screen. And it was like another second boost. And we were ready. We were ready. And we just got to stay ready. We just got to stay working hard. I think probably the best thing and the last thing I need to say tonight is this. We had a little prayer walk Saturday at the building. Some of us came up, prayed in different parts of the building, took communion. I prayed in every part of the building, and then I walked around the perimeter of the building. And I prayed, and I walked into every part of the parking lot, out front, back, all that. And then I came in the glass doors down by the children's wing. And I was about to reach out and grab the door, and I heard God say this: "You've worked, now let me work." And I walked in and I told Sandy, Brandon, our prayer team director, I said, I got a word from God. He's just told me, you guys have worked, now let me work. So let's just be done with this. We're done. We've done everything we can do. Now it's up to him. And boy, he did it. He did it. And we still don't know how many people said yes, because we're in the process of going through all that. I gave the staff the day off today. So no, even though Sarah's at home on her laptop working on inputting information, but everybody's off today, and we'll know by end of the week how many people said yes to Jesus. So that'll be the celebration number, not the 2,400, even though that's awesome. I know at least one, because I talked to him Saturday night.
Right.
A young man named Gavin, a teenager, been wrestling with his faith, and he gave his life to Christ Saturday night in the 6 o'clock service. So I know at least one, and if it's just one, it's one. It's worth it. So
to flip some of your words of wisdom back on you, just to empower you and empower the team too, this is just the starting point.
Yeah.
For a lot of us, it was a goal. For a lot of us, it was, from a prayer standpoint to the work, like you talked about, from the giving in all areas, just to see God do exactly what he says he'll do, in bringing people in season of alignment, even through the midst of COVID, preparing hearts, preparing the team, and then that comes to fruition. And this is just the starting point. And, to use your old words, the best is yet to come for the team,
Yeah.
the volunteers, and for Rock Creek.
Well, that's why God gives you a new dream, because he doesn't want you to get satisfied and comfortable in the old dream.
Right.
And so never stop dreaming as a leader. I mean, when you stop dreaming, you stop growing.
Right.
And you stop stretching and you get comfortable.
Yeah.
And I don't want to see the finish line on the horizon for me and get comfortable and just want to make everything smooth through the remainder of my years as a lead pastor.
Right.
I don't want to be that guy. I want to press. I want to stretch. And that may ruffle feathers, that may cause tension in the room, but tension in the room is not a bad thing. And if I get to that place where I'm like, I don't want to take risks no more because the risk is so great and I don't want to have to deal with the repercussions of the risk on my last 3 years of ministry, then I just need to go ahead and go on. I need to get on the horse and ride into the sunset.
Ride off. Yeah.
Because why we are here, obviously, is God. Why we've gotten to where we are is God. But at the same time, it took people willing to take a risk, a real big step of faith risk.
Absolutely.
Like borrowing $7 million
Absolutely.
risk. And that's, people are like, how do you sleep at night? I do, because God's got this.
Yeah.
It's not mine anyway. It's his. He just called me to lead this shepherd this flock. And so I just think we got to keep dreaming. We got to keep stretching. And I think people know my heart, and I hope they do. And if they don't, they need to get to know my heart. I'm not stretching, and I'm not trying to get to the next level because I want fame, or I want to be able to say, look at me, or somebody to say, oh, Rock Creek's running 5,000. That's not my goal. That's never been my goal. It's not a competition thing. It's not an accomplishment thing. If God says this is it right here, if God says this is it, you're going to live here the rest of your life right here, and this is all you're going to know is that building, and that's the congregation you're going to have, and you're going to do 4 or 5 services a weekend, and that's all you're going to do, then I'm at peace with that. But I just believe God's got something else for us. And so whatever God wants to do, here's the thing, I don't want to put limitations on him by saying, well, God...
You don't limit a limitless God.
Right, exactly. And at the same time, I don't want to put expectations on me.
Yeah.
To think that I've got to produce something that's beyond him because it's man-made. I don't want to man-make something. And so I'm just good with whatever God wants. I just want to keep showing up every day. Show up on Sundays with something relevant from God, something that people can grasp that'll help them. I just don't want to teach them a Bible lesson. I don't want to open the Bible and teach them a lesson. I want them to open the Bible and see the lesson there, but how does that apply to me in 2021? How does that help me through the next week? Yeah. Because my marriage sucks, my kids are driving me nuts, and I'm about to lose my job, and I have an addiction.
Exactly.
So how does all of this fit?
Then how do I take it and go apply it and live it out in community with other people?
Right. And so I knew yesterday there was going to be people walk into Easter that had been invited by somebody who's going to think, that resurrection story is for everybody but me. Because I'm too far gone. I've made too many mistakes. It's too dark. It's too ugly. And so I think that's why God took me to where he took me with Peter, because he knew that there would be at least one person in that room would need to know there is more grace in Jesus than sin in them. There was going to be somebody in there that needed that.
That's good.
And so, I could have preached a stereotypical fluffy, he is risen sermon. And I took it a total different direction because I think that's the real and the raw of the moment. And I think if we can really realize where people are living, people are not living in a perpetual Bible study every day. They're living in hell all around them. It's chaos. And so they're looking, give me something.
They're hungry for it.
Tell me Jesus is still on the throne. Tell me Jesus still loves me, and he's still got a place for me and his family, and I can still be used by God. I want to do something. And I just see that, and it just lights people up, and and somebody said, preach from your failures as a pastor. You'll never run out of material. And so I was preaching for me yesterday, because I've been in that position that Peter was in so many times where I've denied Christ. I've run from God. I've made unwise decisions that made messes on Thursdays that led to regrets on Sundays. And I'm like, that's where I'm going. I'm just going to go there, and we'll see what happens. And I'm telling you, overwhelmingly, people have lit me up with, I'm glad you went there. Thanks for going there, because that's what I needed to hear, that it's for me. It's not just for someone else. The resurrection is for me. And I'm like, well, good. I'm good, guys, because that's what God told me to do. And I'm like, are you sure, God? You really want me to go that direction?
But you had a lot of grace a lot of years ago for the young man on Thursday that you kept telling about Sunday.
And a lot of other Thursdays.
But, and that's what the message said to me, is just a reminder of, what's God done for us?
Mm-hmm.
What's he done in our lives? How's he moved? And how's he continue to fill our tank every day? And we need him every day. We need his grace. We need community with believers, and we need to be able to tell our story. Because, the first campaign was, the story campaign. If you remember that back in the day, and it's, tell our story within his story. But that's really, what we do is, talk about what he's done in our life. So thanks for going there yesterday. It was good stuff.
Oh, you're welcome. Hey, thanks for making it back all the way from the DR.
Absolutely.
That's pretty cool.
We couldn't miss it.
Yeah. I appreciate y'all being here. It means the world to us to know that you would care.
And we got here safe.
Yeah. Yeah.
All of us.
Yeah, it's cool.
Yeah.
Y'all got there on time too?
Yeah, absolutely. We were actually on time.
Had all your luggage?
We were more organized on the way back than we definitely were on the way there. That's for sure.
Okay. Well, and maybe you kind of had a little more time maybe to get organized.
Yeah, a little bit more prep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we're glad you guys were back, and I know you got a lot going on while you're here, so we're praying for you guys. Thanks for joining me in the studio.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah.
It's always fun.
Oh, we always have great conversations. I appreciate it. Hey, guys, thanks for joining us this week on the Go the Distance podcast. I hope you've enjoyed our conversation. It's just two dudes being real and raw who love each other and are in the trenches serving God together, and we'll see where God takes us next. You guys have a great rest of your week. We'll see you next week on the podcast. God bless.